Disclaimer, this video is not intended to send any hate to Dead by Daylight. It's just my opinion and what I think about the game. That doesn't mean I hate it, it's just there's a few problems with it. Alright, back to the video. Ah yes, Dead by Daylight. One of the scariest horror games on any platform today. It holds a very special place in my heart. I've been playing Dead by Daylight since it came free to PlayStation Plus, which I think was around 2018. And I've loved it ever since. Sure, there might be a few problems here and there, and a few bugs that may cost you the game, but it's still a pretty fun game, and it's a game that I'm still playing now in 2020. Now that says a lot. But yeah, I just thought I'd make this video just expressing all my thoughts and concerns about the game, about how it is, and the things that really bother me. Because don't get me wrong, I like a lot of stuff about this game, but I feel like the negative side should also be addressed in this case. But yeah, we're gonna start with the problems when you're playing as Killer. Now, I played Killer a lot when I was on PlayStation, but I haven't played it much since I moved to PC. Now, my first issue with Killers in Dead by Daylight is the stress. Now, I don't know if you know this, but I go into Dead by Daylight wanted to have a fun, free-flowing game. But when you play as Killer, that doesn't happen. I played my first ever PC Killer game the other day, and I was generally so stressed out. Like, I could not play that for more than 2 games. I feel like if you're not mentally prepared to play as Killer, then you should just stick to Survivor. Because Killer will have you going crazy.
Fucking hell, dude. You wasted so much of my goddamn time. I'm leaving her. I can't waste no more time. Can you stop touching my gen, woman? Can you stop it? It's so much pressure, dude. Oh my god.
You have to check up on all the gens. Not only that, if there's good survivors, somewhat half decent survivors on the other team, you're going to be getting looped. You're going to be getting put under time pressure. You're going to be getting hella stressed out, and for the casuals, that could get pretty annoying. And bear in mind, this is rank 20 I was playing in, so I can't even imagine in rank 1 how stressful that'd be. Obviously, there's a lot of people you'll see on Twitch and YouTube. That's their job. They play Dead by Daylight and are really good at it, so props to them, man. But I'm just talking on the casuals perspective and how stressful it can be. That is why a lot of people prefer Survivor as opposed to Killer, and I understand why. Me, myself as well. I just want to have a good time, do my thing, sit back and just play a few games of Survivor. Now, this stress gets even worse when you come up against somewhat toxic survivors. Now, that happens a lot at the higher ranks where they teabag 360 you. Yeah, they're good survivors, they can flaunt it, but it still doesn't take away from the fact that Killer is goddamn stressful. It really does get to you. And if you're getting constantly 360 teabag looped every time, you're gonna go a bit insane in the brain. That is why people do not want to play Killer when they could just play Survivor. They have 3 other teammates with them, and they can literally do what they want. They can somewhat bully the Killer, even to extent if you're playing with friends. It gets like that. That is why the first issue I think playing as Killer is the stress that comes with it. I feel like it should not be that stressful. I mean, you're the goddamn Killer. You should be putting the stress on the survivors. I don't know how it's flipped around and they've managed to do it to the Killer, but it has. All you need is survivors that do generators and are half decent at chases, and the whole game becomes stressful. Obviously, you're gonna get potato survivors sometimes that are probably new to the game, etc., and they're gonna be kind of shitty. But as you go up the ranks and the ladder, they're gonna get tougher and they're more experienced. And yeah, that's why I think stress has a big impact on Killer and why most people don't want to play Killer. Now, for survivors, this isn't an issue. This is particularly for Killers. I was queuing the other day, and I kid you not, I was there waiting for 15-20 minutes for one game. Whereas Survivor, I get into a game within 2-3 minutes flat. Now, I know the logic applies that, oh, there's 4 people queuing for Survivor and only 1 for Killer, so it may be a bit harder to find a game for Killer. But surely it does not take 15 to 20 minutes to put you into a game. That is ridiculous, dude. Like 15 to 20 minutes is a lot of time, and it really does add up throughout the day, especially if you come home from work, you want to play a few games of Dead by Daylight, maybe play a bit of Killer and just, you know, do your thing. And then you're having to wait 15-20 minutes between each game. That is ridiculous. Whereas if you go and play Survivor, you could probably play a game within those 15-20 minutes and fit it in more games. So I don't understand how you're going to make the queue times that long for Killer, but that could be a result of less people playing the game perhaps. Maybe that's why it takes longer, but I'm not too sure about the queue times. I mean, 15 to 20 minutes is a long time when I could just go queue up a Survivor and get into a game like that instantly. So yeah, that's my second problem I feel like is wrong with Killer in Dead by Daylight. The third problem is it's somewhat boring. You may have to resort to camping, tunneling, and ruining other players' experience. As a killer, you don't want to camp or you don't want to tunnel, but if it's to win, you kind of have to, because then you're gonna lose. Most people won't camp and tunnel, but when the survivors are far more skilled and know what they're doing and work as a team to get generators done, then you kind of have to. And then as a result of that, you get the backlash from the survivors at the end of the game who call you fucking noob and they fucking roast you. Like, dude, do you understand how stressful it is to goddamn get y'all to get off the generators when y'all are doing it so quick? Now, obviously, y'all can just say to the killer, get good, etc. But no matter how good you are, if there is 4 somewhat decent survivors that actually do generators and aren't just crouching around, I'm telling you, they don't even have to be that great. As long as they're on generators, they're going to be getting shit done. And if at least 1 out of the 4 or 2 out of the 4 can go on a good chase and actually know how to somewhat loop a killer, none of this 360 shit, the power is going to be in the survivors' hands. And that's why it may lead to the killers having to tunnel and camp. And this may ruin the survivors' experience because they don't want to be camped and tunnel. They want to play the game. Like, no one should be camped and tunnel. That's not how Dead by Daylight is supposed to be played, but you have to do it. You have to understand that these killers don't want to, but they're gonna have to if they have to win. That's why at the start of the game, when there's 5 or 4 generators still up, the killers will not camp or tunnel you unless they're a douchebag, but they won't. They just won't, because they know how sucky it feels to be a survivor and just get killed or downed straight after you come off the hook. It's like a douche thing to do, right? It's just like that rule that the whole Dead by Daylight community follows. All right, this is the last thing I want to touch about for killers: the Huntress's goddamn hitbox. Do I have to say any more?
Whoa, that hit! Whoa, that hit! Holy fuck!
Yeah, we're not gonna talk about that. All right. Swiftly moving on. All right, we're on to survivors. The first issue with survivors is being camped / tunneled is so frustrating. We just went over it in killers. It is so goddamn frustrating as a survivor when you're being camped or tunneled. Now, I understand if they have to do it, then they have to do it to win, right? Like, say if there's 1 or 2 generators left and there's still 4 people up, they're gonna have to do it, right? It's understandable, but it's still frustrating. You can't deny the fact that as a survivor, it is so frustrating. You just got off the hook. You want to be left alive to do some shit, get your points, and move on. But no, you just killed off. You're killed off straight away. All right, moving on. The second problem with survivors is survivors use the same goddamn perks in the higher ranks. I shit you not. If you go into some higher ranks, say if you get up to purple or green or obviously especially red ranks, you're gonna see the same perks again and again. There's no variety. It's gonna be like DS, Iron Will, Dead Hard, and Adrenaline. Like DS, Dead Hard, and Adrenaline are 3 staples for survivor in most cases, and then the 4th one can vary sometimes, but I see Iron Will quite a lot nowadays. Iron Will or Spine Chill a lot. Whereas Killer, you can pick a lot of builds. Obviously, a lot of killers like to run Ruin, but apart from that, you've got 3 other slots that you can use. There's a lot of variety for killers. Whereas survivors, it's just the same shit again and again. There's so many perks to use, but people just don't want to use them. They just want that same sweaty try-hard build. Decisive Strike is so annoying because literally as you go higher up the ranks, and I'm talking from a killer's perspective, I'm trying to be two-sided here, it can be pretty annoying. You have to manage the survivors, you can't pick them up for 60 seconds, etc. They go into lockers and they just hide and you can't do goddamn anything, so you feel powerless. But yeah, survivor perks really need to get some balancing done because I just see the same shit again and again. Now, there might be the odd scenario where someone's running a specific build or something just to try it out, just to have fun, you know? But in higher ranks, it's hard to just have fun, so you're just gonna have to just fucking sweat it, dude, and run DS, Iron Will, Dead Hard, and Adrenaline, etc. All right, one more thing I want to touch on for survivors is why Are Moris a thing? Whoever decided to add Moris into Dead by Daylight, I just want to know what your thought process was. Who would add a mechanic to literally kill a survivor after one hook? How is that fun? How is that fun? How is that fun for any of the survivors? I mean, if a killer brings a Mori into the game, for example, how is a survivor supposed to get any points in that game? They've already lost before it started. One hook, and then they'd get downed after that. They're out the game. There's no coming back. You're gonna D-rank, you're gonna lose a pip, and it's all because of one goddamn Mori. I do not understand how is that fun. If anything, if they wanted to balance Moris, it'd make more sense to do it on the third hook, because that way you can just kill him off instead of walking up to a hook and then move on. That way the killers can get the satisfaction of killing off a survivor, and the survivors can acknowledge, oh, they were dead anyway, so they got Mori'd off. I don't understand how you can just kill off a survivor that quick after one hook. They've barely got a chance to do anything, and it's really infuriating from a survivor's point of view. It's like, as soon as you see that Mori come up and it doesn't flip over, you know you're in for a game of fisting. But yeah, that's my issues with survivors. There might be a few more, but I've still got a couple of things I want to go over for both. So the next problem I want to address is toxicity. Now, you can't deny that there is toxic ass players in the Dead by Daylight community. I mean, it's in every community, right? It's what makes the community. You gotta have a bit of toxicity in there. But holy crap, it's like there's this war between survivors and killers of who can be more toxic at times. You got your survivors teabagging and fucking doing 360s and loops and shit, and then you got your goddamn killers using those overpowered add-ons like iridescent head and Moris and that type of shit, right? And it can get so infuriating. What I've noticed is that when survivors start being toxic, that's what makes killers go a bit crazy in the head, bit cuckoo, and they start playing toxic for their next games, and then they just get pissed off. I feel like toxicity is both ways, because it's like a never-ending cycle. When survivors do it, killers get pissed off. When killers start doing it, survivors get pissed off, and then they just collide, and then that leads to survivors and killers at the end calling each other out, roasting in that little, you know that little box, that little chat box. Yeah, that one. All right, moving on. And the last thing I want to talk on is for my console homies. All right, I was a PlayStation player before. I know how frustrating it is for my console brothers, my Xbox and PS4 homies, right? There is no console optimization. They just don't give a fuck about consoles, and it's kind of sad because the game doesn't look that bad on console, right? It's just the frames, they're a bit shitty, but there are some big issues on console, right? So for example, whenever I use Sprint Burst or whenever I get hit with Sloppy Butcher, my game, I shit you not, would just lag on PlayStation. Why would it do that? I don't know. Why would my game freaking lag if I just press R1 to run? Like, what the fuck, dude? How does that make sense? I'm trying to get away from the killer and my game will lag. It will literally freeze for a second and then it'll show me running. What the fuck, dude? And the same goes with Sloppy Butcher. I get hit with Sloppy Butcher, my game lags. I don't know why. I have no clue. PC also has its bugs, but they're not as bad as compared to console, okay? Console is a whole different wave of bugs. Sometimes I try to vault the window on console and it just take me back out. Like, what the fuck, dude? I'm trying to get through the window, get away from the killer, but it didn't let me. Now, with that being said, this is no way intended to hate on Dead by Daylight. I fucking love that game, dude. I feel like some of the bugs kind of make the game even more interesting and funny. Not when you're on the receiving end, obviously. But yeah, this isn't to hate on Dead by Daylight. This is just what I think are the problems with the game, the issues, the state of the game. And I feel like someone should address them and how they can improve on them. Like, I know Dead by Daylight are doing a lot of good things right now, and I want to address that. They're bringing cross-play, they're bringing cross-platform, they're trying to get more players to play with each other. I think that's great. I think we should acknowledge those as the good points for the game and how they're moving forward. I mean, even after 4 years, the amount of development and time they put into this game is great. You've got to give props to that. I know there might be those bugs and infuriating times where you're like, God damn, this game really pisses me off. But you still come back to it. I still come back to it. We all still come back to it. But yeah, those are just the problems that I've encountered, what I think's wrong with the game. So with that being said, guys, if you did enjoy the video, please hit the like button and subscribe down below. Thank you guys for all watching, and I'll catch you guys in my next video. I'm out.